I'm Debbie Godfrey, and welcome to Season 2 of the Positive Parenting Pep Talks podcast, where I'll be answering your questions about positive parenting. So sit back and listen to what some parents have asked and what my suggestions are for them. And please remember to like, subscribe, and share, and give us a great review if you like this Pep Talks podcast. Thank you so much for being here and happy parenting.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, Debbie.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. Okay, so my son is not the most active kid in the world, and I think he's maybe not that atypical at this age. He's 8, and he would just prefer to sit in the house and play iPad all day. And it's pretty hot here in Florida, so he uses that as an excuse for not wanting to get sweaty. But I'm really trying to be a better role model and get him healthier. And I've actually joined a gym and am doing yoga to sort of not be the hypocrite that I could be. And, it just seems like when we want him to do anything, if it's walking the dogs or doing something active outside, he's very good at negotiating, which means he could be a future lawyer. And he definitely always tries to make a deal. Okay, I'll make a deal. I'll walk the dogs, but I get to play iPad for 20 minutes. But it's just it's so arduous to get him to do anything active. And I think that's typical, but maybe it's not. And I guess I need to know if this is the age or he's just modeling mom who's, a very hard worker but doesn't do a lot of physical activity. And so I don't know. We're just looking at more creative ways of getting him motivated about activity without it looking like we're forcing him or judging him. He's actually said to Karen a couple times, you're judging me, because Karen's a lot more fit and a lot more active than I am, 100%. And so I think he looks at that as a negative thing. And so when we ask him to do something, I don't know if that's triggering him at a subconscious level where he's thinking, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm not active enough, fat, I'm whatever. So I don't want to do anything to his esteem, but I'm trying to find a happy medium where we can get him to at least do something outside once in a while without wanting to just sit and play video games, which I'm not a big fan of.
Right, and I think it is important. I think it's a little of each or both. Like, yes, there's a lot of kids who are out of shape or overweight or whatever, and yes, it has to do with video games. Yes, it has to do with eating snacks in front of the TV or whatever they do and not getting outdoors as much as they used to. And so, it is a challenge. Obviously the best thing is if you do stuff with him, but if he sees that in any way competitive or that he's not good enough, that is going to kind of counteract what you're attempting to do. Does he have any self-motivation toward anything that you've noticed?
Not so much. He likes chess, but he's just not overly motivated about anything. He'll read. He's a speed reader. He's kind of, I guess, I don't want to be judgmental, but I could say probably that he's probably more nerdy, more cerebral. He's the kind of like to write short stories or read novels, 2 grades higher than his current grade. And so he's more into that kind of thing than a sports thing. And I don't need him to be a star athlete. As a matter of fact, I'm trying hard not to make him the overachiever that I was. But I feel like he's developing some unhealthy habits, and I'm trying to make it fun to do stuff. And part of the problem, is admittedly I don't like to go out in the middle of the Florida heat and play Frisbee and baseball, but it would definitely inspire me more if he seemed more excited about it too. Like it's like this yin and yang thing. So I guess to answer your question, he's not overly excited about anything, but he likes things like chess and I guess more of the indoor, non-sweating types of activities. So I don't know how to get him to the next level with a little bit more physical. Like I enroll him every season in basketball. And it's not very competitive, but it's basketball, and he sweats, and at least he's doing something. And he does tap dance once a week too, and that gives him, an hour of not sitting on his butt. But if I said to him tomorrow, you don't have to go to either of those 2 things, I think he'd be thrilled. But for me, at least it's forcing him to do 2 hours of activity a week, which isn't a lot. So he's just not a very passionate person, and I'm not sure if that's his perfectionistic personality or he's just lazy or he's just like more internally motivated, where it's not really physically derived from being outside. So
yeah, and I'm not. Listening to not lazy, and it's not anything like really negative. That yes, he is more of a brain nerd type that would much prefer playing chess and doing, brain activities than being out and being active. And yet all of us get to be everything. So I like that you're actually kind of making him do stuff and that he's doing it. If you were getting into fights where he was refusing to go, then you'd have to relook at that again. But the fact that he's doing it, he probably knows that it's good for him and that he needs to do something. And so that's why he's cooperating with it. And in terms of finding something, I'm kind of at a blank. I'm wondering if I'm going to unmute Karen again.
If I could chime in here. I hate to call him lazy, but it's an ongoing thing with walking my dogs. Whenever Baron comes to my house, I'm not able to walk my dogs because he refuses to go. And, when I asked him about it, he says, well, I don't like walking. And the way I handled it, I said, fine. What if I bought you roller skates or a skateboard? I did the best I could to try to hear him. He doesn't like walking. Fine. Let's get a scooter, a skateboard. He says, Karen, I did activity yesterday with my friend. Why do I have to do it again? And it's just this absolute hatred. I don't know if it's exercise or what it is, but he says, I ran in the backyard yesterday. I did it for my friend, so why do I have to do it for you today? And it's just getting him to move is very, very difficult. Not move, but, in a certain type of exercise. And he's kind of always been like this, but it's a little bit troubling. And I guess to move forward on walking the dogs, when I ask him to walk the dogs, his answer is, well, what are we going to negotiate? So for him to actually go outside, I have to give him something. And that something is usually like a half an hour on the iPad. And I'm starting to feel like he's really winning that power struggle because I don't really feel like I should have to give him something every time we go outside to play. So that's a big struggle for me.
Well, it sounds like walking the dog is not going to be a preferred activity of his. So that one I would probably you can't take the dogs walking while he's there because you can't leave him home alone yet? Is that the problem?
We can't leave him home alone yet. So I can give him, I can give him the iPad or not. I haven't asked him to walk the dogs in a while because the answer is always no. But it's also, do you want to go swimming? No. Do you want to play frisbee? Anything outdoors that requires exercise and activity is an automatic no in his head. And I'm not sure. I guess we're not sure why.
Well, he doesn't like it.
Yeah, he doesn't like it. Well, but that's not really okay because then he's just going to gain weight and be unhealthy. And it's not really okay.
Well, it's okay for him to. It's okay. His feeling or his opinion is okay. It's not wrong.
Right.
It's just his opinion.
Right.
So, okay, let me go back to Heidi for a second. Is he technically overweight? Like, is he at risk of,
He's a little bit overweight. He's a little bit overweight. He definitely is. But he's always kind of been on that spot. He's also almost 5 feet, and he's 8 years old, and he's been this.
So he's a big
boy. He's always been big. He's always been like, when he doubled his birth weight, he quadrupled his birth weight. Just very young. And he is getting a little taller, so, and I'm not as concerned, and maybe I should be, that, he's a little chunky around the waist. I'm more concerned about just the healthy habits, because I am not a good role model, ironically. Being a physician, we're pretty hypocritical. So I would like to see him just be a little bit healthier. So, yeah, he does the tap and he does the basketball, and he's not excited to go, but he's also not saying I'm not going anymore. I never get a fight from him. And so I figure if I can try to make it fun, I think when he least notices that he's doing something is when it's in the context of something fun. Like I said, go run a mile. He'd be like, oh, I'm not running. I don't even want to walk. It's too hot. So, I don't know if there's certain things that you've noticed at this age group, 8 years old. He's just not the typical boy, and I'm not, and that's okay. I don't need him to be Mr. Jock. That's not where he lives. But if there's a way if there's anything that you're kind of aware of that are sort of activity related and yet still fun and maybe attract this age group for the kids that are never going to be the star of the football team or probably not even make the team.
Yeah, so that's giving me some ideas. There's this guy who does walking in nature days or something. It's like getting kids out in nature. And so finding something out there that does interest him, like could it be bird watching? Could it, because that was something that he could study. He could look in, you could get a local bird books and then take him out in places to find birds, I mean, is there something, is there something related to being out in nature and doing something scholarly or studious that would interest him enough so he could study it and then want to be out there? And I know, man, if I was in Florida, I would be all over finding those manatees. I just think they're the coolest thing ever. And my daughter's been obsessed with them since she was little, and she's got to see them. So, I mean, like, see what's in your environment. And if I can, I'll try to find this guy's Twitter or whatever he's on. He does this, like last year when he had his Take Your Kids Out in Nature Day, I took my daughter and my grandson, and we all went hiking up in the Jefferson Memorial Forest where she lives. And, we were out all day and tweeting. It's like, yes, we're out. This is like, people need to get out in nature and not be sitting on their computers all day long, and it's really important.
Agreed.
But I think Karen, we're going to back off the power struggles like you have already, like not asking him to walk the dog and stuff, because that's not going in a positive direction. I think your best chance is, Heidi, for you to share honestly from your heart with him about your struggles with balancing your work and getting exercise, your work and being active. And go back as far as that's been for you, with maybe were you like that in school too. So using an empathy factor or a relatability factor of, this is how I've experienced this, and I'm, I see what's happening because you see kids every day overweight and having all these problems, and adults and everybody else. And so you're doing your best by starting yoga and going to the gym. And, if there's anything we can do together, Baron, I want to learn from you, how to more incorporate this more in my life, make it better, funner, easier, and maybe we can inspire each other, into doing things to be more active, and just see if you both can kind of help each other balance better. And
one thing that did work, I'm sorry, is Karen got a Fitbit. I don't know if you know what a Fitbit is, but
yes.
Okay, so then we got him one, and they challenged each other. And in the beginning, that was a really good motivating factor. He's supposed to get 11,000 steps a day, and he said, "Hey, Mom, I got my buzz," and which means he achieved his goal. And so sometimes you can challenge each other. That sort of died down a little bit. I think the novelty might have wore off, but it's a really good initial motivator, and it's kind of cool because it's social and you can pick who you want to compete against. So that's been good. And the other thing that he does love, as brainstorming, as you said, is there anything that he does like to do that's physical? And he loves biking. That's not always practical, and the problem with biking is he's 8 years old. I can't just say, okay, you'll see you in an hour, come back whenever you want. I have to either go with him on a bike or walk with him, which is virtually impossible when he's biking. But he gets a sense of freedom from his bike that trumps the sweatiness. It's interesting how he's a little bit. I think you're right. When you like something, it doesn't seem to matter that he's getting hot and gross out there. So I think Karen's actually done some biking with him, and we probably need to do that a little bit more, because maybe we're making some excuses, because if we really care that much about his activity, then once a week we can make an effort to do biking with him. You should also force me to do something.
Yeah, and if that's not a power struggle, Karen, with you, if you guys get on your bikes together, then I would focus on doing that one rather than the walking or the things that he's resisting. So, yeah, I think just keep going along those lines. And I guess my main thing that I want you to see and know is that there's nothing wrong with him. There's nothing wrong that his default would be to sit on the computer all day long. I mean, that's just, it's like entropy. It's like, this is
okay.
And it's like, if you can get them inspired of their own accord, then it's different. Then you've got, then he's interested in going. But as long as everybody else wants him to do it more than he does, you're going to be in this state. And so that's why, and I like what I heard with the biking, that he would do that and he would sweat and he's in heaven. So if there's any way to figure out a place that he can bike safely, or a group. I mean, I know with my age, I'm 50, I can go on a meetup and bike with people that I don't know, and stuff like that. I don't know what an 8-year-old would do, but if there's some way, I don't know what you have there, but we have like big, huge park areas here, which might have like a bike path around them, which might be a place he could go and, bike a mile or two or whatever. I don't know what the length is, but it's relatively safe or something like that, or I don't know.
Okay.
But that's what I would look at, and not from the standpoint of that he's wrong or there's something wrong with him, because there isn't anything wrong with him. It's just, we want everybody to be balanced. If he was a sports star, we would be struggling with getting him to read, right?
Right. No, I mean, he loves singing. I mean, he's an eclectic kid. He likes singing and likes music. He likes chess, and he likes reading. So, he's more of that math, nerdy brain kid, which will serve him well probably in life. But at this stage, it's it leads to a lot of sloth. But I guess you're saying that he's not abnormal, that this isn't that atypical, that not all kids love to go out and sweat in the Florida heat. Because I was concerned that, is he going to be a lazy kid by nature? Am I going to have to worry about? But then his work ethic in school is great. It's like I don't want to judge him, and I want him to be exactly who he is, but I also want him to be healthy. So it's balanced.
Right. You don't want to judge him, and you don't want to project your own stuff on him, and that's either of you. That he's a unique individual, and you both have, like, yours is a very intellectual pursuit, and Karen's got the physical thing, and he's his own person. So you guys don't want to project any of your own stuff on him. Just let's see who he is. Let him unfold who he is to you guys, and he's already showing bits and pieces of stuff he's willing to do. So acknowledging that, and then just, again, keep trying. I love the Fitbit, and I love all the different apps, and there's so many different ways out there that you could incorporate him and his computer wizardry without outside doing stuff. So keep letting him explore those different options that might get him outdoors more. There's also this thing, I don't know if you guys have heard of it, I don't know, and I don't remember what it's called, but where you go on these treasure hunts, and it's something online. Have you heard of those? They're like, it's something online, and there's like these, they're all over the country. People go bury and hide these things, and then kids and their parents go and find them. And you don't take them, you just go and you find where they are, and it's like, it's really cool. You got to go explore all over your area. And if I can think of the name of it, I'll put it out there. But it's, there's so much out there now with connectivity that I'm sure that between you guys that you can find something that'll get them out more regularly, if that's what you desire. I mean, twice a week is good enough, what you're doing.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's great that that's working. And Emily, it looks like, raised her hand, so she might want to. Emily, did you want to give a suggestion here? I just noticed.
Yes, I wanted to. Well, two things. One is that what you're talking about is called geocaching.
Oh, thank you.
Geocaching.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And then the other thing is, I wanted to say that I have an 8-year-old girl who is the same. I mean, she's not. I've tried every sport and activity trying to get her into it, and it's just not. She's just not into it. And like when you ask her, she played soccer 2 seasons very reluctantly. What's your favorite part of soccer? Her favorite part was snack. And it's like, then I have this 4-year-old who's the opposite, who's like, she. We signed them up for this fun run, this 1K kids run, and my 4-year-old won the race. She came in first, and then my 8-year-old, of course, is the last and walking the whole way. And I have a hard time, same thing, I really wanted my 8-year-old to be athletic because I wasn't as a child, and I feel like as an adult, I'm constantly trying to catch up. I want to be athletic. I want to be, I'm running, but it's like it's really hard, and I keep thinking, if I had started as a kid, it would be easier, so I know what that's like to want your kid to be, try to be athletic and healthy, and you want the best for them. But what I've learned is having these 2 kids who are polar opposites is that they're just their own people. And my 8-year-old's going to be fine. She has, her strengths. And I did find one activity that's an outdoorsy activity that she likes. It's horseback riding, and I think that's pretty good for her athletically. But I want you guys to know you're not alone. I have an 8-year-old who's in the same boat, and like
Thank you.
doesn't. It's like pulling teeth trying to get her to go. Like my 4-year-old wants to go on a family bike ride, and my 8-year-old's like, this big thing. So maybe it's an age, and maybe it's just the personality. And I've kind of learned to just let go and realize that she's going to be okay. And
Thank you.
but you're not alone in that.
It's good to hear.
Thanks for that. That's great feedback to get. And the chuckle's going on because it's so true. And I love that you found a couple things she likes: horseback riding, and what was the other one you said?
Well, she's so far like she likes drama. Like she's very social, but as far as the outdoors activity, it's really just the horseback riding, and she likes to ride her scooter a little bit, but she's not. I've stopped pushing outdoor stuff. Like I've stopped pushing sports because it's just not a go. And horseback riding's good enough for me. And then she's doing drama, and she's sings, and I'm like, well, that's fine. That's how I was, and I'm okay, even though I'm not like all my friends are like doing Ironmans, and I'm like trying to run a 5K, 5K, but I'm okay. I'm not going to die from that. So.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing is that the risk that I would prefer that you guys don't take is that he feels that there's something wrong with him or anything like that. So he's great just as he is, and everybody needs to go get more exercise than we're getting. And so it's not, you're not trying to get him to do it because there's something wrong with him. It's just all of us need to work out, eat better, exercise more. It's just the way our culture has become, that none of us move around as much as we should or used to or need to or anything like that. So is that enough for that one, Heidi? Do you feel like you have enough to go on?
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for validating that my 8-year-old isn't a complete flop. That seems to be maybe just a personality thing. And, he could be the next Bill Gates. And, that said, he's not the most active kid in the world. But I definitely thought it was the right thing to do, and I hope I'm not wrong of not letting him off the hook. And not that he's fighting me, like I said, but I decided that if at least he gets the dancing and the what was the other thing, and the basketball, and that's and he has other activities too. He does chess, and he does singing, and he does Hebrew school. So he's pretty busy. So it's 5 activities a week, and 2 of them are physical. But there is some pressure, or I feel like there's some pressure that my kid needs to be more active and be outdoors more. And if that's not a requirement, then I'll just try to entice him by showing him my lead and talking about how he can help me and what ideas could I do to be more active, and then try to pull him in the mix without making it force feeding him. I don't want him to feel less than what he is, because he's a really good kid. He just has different interests than some other kids, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah, we're all unique. So cool. Awesome.
I'm guessing you found today's pep talk valuable, and hopefully it gave you some practical tools and ideas for dealing with your children's behavior. If you'd like to work more deeply on these topics and similar topics, please join me over at my website, positiveparenting.com. I'll put a link in the description box here. I have classes starting all the time, classes that are self-directed where you can listen to lessons on your own time, and also Q&A calls where I answer your questions, just like the parents in these pep talks. So I hope, again, that you will like and share and rate this podcast and help more parents be able to see it and hear it and get help from it. Thanks again, and happy parenting.